Happy Thursday. Hello, hello. Hey, Rhiannon Journey. Diginanigans. What up? It's been a minute. How are you doing? It's time for game dev. We're starting nice and early today, which is good. You'll mostly just be lurking today. Really busy week. No, I get it. Me too. I was asked to work a little bit more than usual the next few weeks to get through some stuff, and then something crazy happened, so I'm having to work more anyway just to make up for the failings of our vendor. So yeah, I did not do a good job getting the sleep I said I was going to get last night. I intended on getting sleep, and then I just played RimWorld Odyssey instead. So no regrets, but also no rest for the wicked either. But yeah, we're cruising. We'll have to see what we're going to work on today. We have some options. I think we're in an okay spot vis-a-vis copy, paste, cut, paste, that stuff. Some stuff's just straight up broken. Like I don't want to do any camera rotation because I know it's broken and I don't really want to work on it right now. We'll probably ignore that, but what we can do most of the time. I think I actually fixed this bug yesterday. But we should be able to just pretty easily. So we're gonna like, oh, there is something weird about the cut selection sometimes. We need to look into that. So like if I just grab this whole thing, yoink. And if I just copy this, I get the whole thing, yeah? We can paste it. And now we have the whole thing. But there was some weird stuff happening yesterday with the cut. Rhiannon Journey frown for no sleep, but smile for RimWorld. Yeah. It was good. It was good. My RimWorld run, I was worried about it for a second.
Maximum warp.
Almost immediately after landing, two of my colonists just beat just beat each other senseless. I need to remember this is the first like 7 minutes of the stream, so I shouldn't swear. There's something about that with like YouTube. But yeah, they just beat each other senseless, and the only medic in the crew was down and needed rescuing. Literally, the other two colonists could not heal. They had no, it wasn't just a 0 or whatever, it was like a dash, like they wouldn't doctor. And so the one doctor who is just like incapacitated had to crawl all the way to the medical supplies and like saved himself. Actually, I don't even think he crawled to the medical supplies. I think he just crawled to a bed and just laid up in the bed. And then he went and healed the guy who just beat him senseless. And then he healed himself and went back to bed. And so 2/3 of my crew were basically useless for the first like 4 days while they healed. I was like, this is RimWorld. It's looking really good. Oh, no Jewel maximum warp, thank you. Don't you only land with 3? Yeah, 2 of the 3 were incapacitated immediately upon landing. It was wild. Not as wild as this music, though. In the game I was playing a couple days ago, one of my colonists had a heart attack immediately upon, a fatal heart attack, like in the first season after landing, and I was like, come on, game. Come on. Like, I'm trying to make it work. Next time we do a RimWorld Let's Play, we need to be, like, really smart about redundancy. Because, when I'm playing on my own, I like don't mind like wiping a save and like restarting or whatever, because like something crazy happens in the first hour. But when we do the Let's Play, we really need to like try to like keep it going. So we'll have to approach that differently. We won't do that this Saturday because I actually have a in-person Godot meetup But I think next Saturday, like not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, we'll head back into RimWorld. All right. So what if I copy all of this and I cut? So the copies seem to work, but if I cut this, something weird starts happening. Yeah, like what is going on here? It like took the floors but left the walls. But the floors are in the clipboard. They're just not present in this. So yeah, something super weird is happening when we do a cut. It doesn't seem to be happening. Yeah, I don't know. So we'll just place that and we'll get rid of it. And yeah, now everything's messed up because it kind of did this weird offset for everything. So yeah, we need to investigate that. Hey, Nix. How's it going? So yeah, why is the cut behaving so differently? There's something with the clipboard that's happening. Oh, Nix, you've been chatting, but the app is not working for you. It's unfortunate. You've been working for 12 hours today? Oh, man. Yeah, this Power Apps thing sounds like the worst. Yeah, I like playing RimWorld. It's a nice pace. I like a good game that's like very sit back, kind of just mostly just let stuff unfold. It's a good decompress kind of game. Unlike a game like Peak, which is like a very active, like... Alright, so there's something wrong. You know, this is probably not the way. We probably don't need to do it this way. I think we're going to change how this works. I think instead we could just say... How does the erase work under the hood? Block.erase. Existent.remove forms outgoing.form. I think that's probably part of the problem. I think I want like a variant that's like erase all or something like that. Maybe instead of erase, we can write like empty. Like public static block empty. Oh, we don't need a... We could just say block dot... Well, we don't want... We don't want it to be actually empty, do we? Next, I should get the mod, oh, you got me. When you mentioned pawns beating the heck out of each other, it stops them from beating each other until death. Yeah, we're not doing any mods right now. But yeah, it's pretty annoying. You haven't played RimWorld or Dwarf Fortress Rhiannon Journey. Which do you prefer, and can you compare, contrast? Yeah, I'm missing it, Nix. I'm missing a lot of the quality of life that I'm used to in the mods. Rhiannon Journey. I'd say a big difference between Dwarf Fortress and RimWorld is scale. Like, RimWorld, you have between, like, 3 and, like... You can get more, but I think you... realistically, you probably won't have more than, like, 15 colonists, like, max. Unless you're doing mods and stuff like that. The game will actively try to kill you after you have, like, 9 or something like that. Once you get into the double digits, the game is like, you shouldn't have this many pawns. Quote-unquote pawns, as they call them. Whereas Dwarf Fortress, your fortress maxes out at like 200 dwarves. So I say Dwarf Fortress is a lot more statistical. There's a lot less like direct intervention in Dwarf Fortress as far as like you telling a dwarf to do a specific thing at a specific moment. So RimWorld, I would say, is like a lot closer in. You currently have 22. Do you have like a population control, like a dynamic population mod though, Nix? Because the game is like very hesitant to give you new colonists after a certain point. So yeah, I'd say RimWorld is a lot more specific, like, or it's a lot more smaller scale and more. You have a lot more time to get into the details of the individual. Like, all those details are still present in Dwarf Fortress. It's just there's so much going on, it's hard to see it. Nix, you'd suggest RimWorld. It has a bit better look to it, but Dwarf Fortress is a lot more complex and in-depth. Yeah, I think the complexity of Dwarf Fortress is kind of unmatched by anything in the industry. I'm gonna just have an erase all variant. Public, static, block, erase all. You can just say like, I guess we'll pass in a buffer. Just say buffer.span index equals buffer.span index with form equals block.forms, or it's going to be block.empty.form, something like that. So you just like get rid of all the forms of the block. I think that might fix one of our problems. Maybe we call this erase all blocks in. So we don't need any of this information. Nix, no, but you down a lot of pawns. You do that when you use blunt weapons. Okay, so you're just very careful about not killing enemies, so you're able to capture a lot, whether the game wants to give them to you or not. What you can also do is shoot them and wait for them to bleed until they down themselves. Most of the pawns came from prisoners. That makes sense. Some others from the Anomaly DLC, as it likes to throw pawns at you after a couple of years in the game. Okay. But yeah, even with dynamic population, I've never seen... I think it's rare for you to get more than like... I think it's pretty hard to get more than like a couple dozen pawns. Maybe like 30 tops or something. But I think it's more typical to expect that you'll have maybe like 10, 15 pawns most of the time, which is a lot less than, 150 dwarves or something like that, which you can get to pretty quickly in Dwarf Fortress. So yeah, Dwarf Fortress is definitely a larger scale and maybe like a more zoomed out kind of experience. It's a lot less direct. It's a lot more indirect control over things by setting up, you know, jobs and zones and roles and everything. It's pretty interesting. It's similar content, but with a very different focus, I guess. So we're just gonna say block.erase all. Just say buffer and buffer index. What do we want for this? Block, buffer, index. What do we need block for? Maybe erase all is maybe the wrong. I think it would actually be okay to just it would be okay to do this instead. No, we'll do it this way. We'll do it this way. You just snatched a fly out of the air, Nyx, like a kung fu master. Nice. Next, do it with chopsticks. All right, so where are the bounds? I'm not quite sure about how this offset works. We're gonna say erase all blocks in. All right. I don't understand what is causing this weird. I guess let's just test it with one. Actually, I don't think this is testable with just one. We're going to test it with just a single layer here. So we're just gonna, let's just grab the whole thing. Cut. All right. That may have worked. Let's paste it. We're just gonna paste it a bunch of times. Get rid of it. So now we have this thing. And now, what if I grab the whole thing again? Yeah, there was something about the offset being applied. All right. Okay, we resolved it. It looks weird because of I'm going up and down, but okay. That seems correct. All right, we're gonna have to pick something new to work on now. I think this is pretty much done. Ship it. Looks really cool. I was saying how the game gets better bit by bit. I know, I can't tell when it happens bit by bit. I can only tell the difference over like when I go back and look at like how it was. So I really rely on people to come in and be like, oh, I haven't checked in with you in like 2 months. Wow, look at all this progress. And I'm like, progress? We've been making progress? Progress, you say? I still don't know how I totally feel about the cutaway by bounding box. Causes a few weird things, but I think I can live with it. Oh. I see an auto tiling problem. Oh, only for one side. Curious. Oh, no, for both sides. Okay, so that's a lower... That's a half-cut bulk. Who is that? That should just be one wall piece. Oh, I think it's mistakenly... Oh, I see what it's doing. It's removing... It's shifting over to the half-cut atlas. But it shouldn't do that if it's in a back corner. Interesting. So it's looking at the block behind it. It's seeing that it's a half cut and that we're a full cut. And it's switching over and it's removing an outline. But it needs to keep it because it's a corner piece. So how do I communicate that? I guess you look at your the opposite point. You look at this point here. Let's think about that. You could work on multi-room cutaway. Does it cut all the way to the floor or just the current level you're on? Right now, it just cuts away the layer that you currently are on. But that might change when we switch to using like a raycast input. Because right now you define the Z level that your input is being mapped to. But eventually I want to switch it to a raycast-like system. Where you, instead of scrolling down Z levels, you scroll forward along the ray to whatever the next wall is that you hit in the, like, I don't know, the array of collisions. That could open up the possibility. That still causes the problem of what do you do with, like, the walls above and stuff. I have to think about how that works. But I think that should make multi-room cutaway pretty easy. Nix, when you started out, we didn't have a cut function, halfway blocks, or inner walls, you think? We had the flood fill system might have been broken at the time. That's possible. Or at least one of the walls facing away from the camera inside of the ship, but outside of the room the cursor was in was double the thickness than before. Gotta go. No worries. Thanks, Jewel. I'll see you around. Good rest of your day. Yeah, I think we'll probably do that sooner than later, the raycast input thing. I just have to... I've already done something similar to that before. Just gotta think about how I want to do it. I really want to clean up this switch statement too, but... Oh, this is the other thing I want to turn back on. The projecting the shadows so you can kind of see where your mouse cursor is. I want to restore that. But that would require... That would require us to have an alternative outline type. Because right now we just have the solid, like, select outline. I want a dotted, like, hover outline. What you mean by that is we did a lot of progress so far? Yeah. I don't disagree. Like we've definitely refined this tool, probably beyond the point that it needs to be. We've probably gone further than we need to go, strictly, for what we're attempting to accomplish at this point. Oh, this doesn't need to return a block. All right. Oh, yeah. I remember what we're doing. So there's a flaw with the cutaway, and it affects bulk X and bulk Y. And it affects, let's see which variant of the tile it affects. So it affects the +1, the X plus 1 variant, which is this one, I think. Make sure that's true here. Yeah. All right, so in the X plus 1 branch, we have a problem. So X plus 1 here. So what we're doing... Oh, no, it doesn't affect this part. It affects this part down here, where we say if cutaways has key.xyz minus vector 3i.y, cutaway extends half bulk. So we check to see, okay, is the neighbor behind us a half block? If it is, we switch to the half block variant of the Atlas coords. But we want to do this. We don't necessarily want to do this. So we need the like an but and not. Let me see if I can recreate this real quick, this issue. I want to make sure I can, so I can test it very quickly. So if we just do a little thing here, and we just have a little thing here. Oh, it needs to be inside, or we won't be able to see it. Nix, fun fact, Power Apps is even worse than you thought. I don't see how that's possible. You did find a cool function hidden away in the deep boiling depths of it. Anyway, apparently you can query Power BI Power BI semantic model data. Does that mean schematic or semantic? Model data straight from it. You don't need to have a separate Power Automate call just to do it, which you always found weird. Bad thing is, schematic is a word? What does it mean? Okay. I would totally believe it if that someone like made that up as a thing. I'm not trying to shame you or anything. I'm like genuinely, I'm not surprised anymore. I keep seeing the word agentic. Be like, code, like I'm in San Francisco, so every bus, the bus advertisements are wild. They're all like targeted towards like product managers and stuff. And like one of them just says like code security in the agentic era. And I'm like, agentic, we cannot allow this to become a word. I reject this using my authority under the Merriam-Webster Act. I reject this word, this made up word. Semantic schematics. I know, I thought it was like you'd smash those words together and come up with something new, which is not unusual. Oh, hey, Repo. There you are. What's up? How's the project coming? It's going good. We're hunting little bugs right now. So it's not going that bad. There's this little cutaway bug that I'm hunting here. Can I get it to show? How did I get it to... Oh, there it is. Yeah, so it's this big center line here is getting cut out mistakenly. So how to avoid this? Because this is something you want to have happen, like in this case. I can't actually get that to occur. Actually, genuinely not sure how to trigger this consistently. Nix, modify the semantic model, which is bad. They will not be able to access the data. Sure, there's a viewer role inside of the workspaces. The viewer doesn't give you reading rights to the report outside of the report, only inside it, which is dumb. The stuff you're talking to me about makes... I'm going to be super honest. I understand some of the word. I understand all the words. The individual words all make sense to me. But the combination of them is just like... Because I don't live in this Power App, web dev, query, model view, I don't know what world. It sounds like the most convoluted way to do anything. It sounds horrible. Have I seen the Silicon Valley, the TV show? Bits and pieces. I didn't watch it when it came out, which was a mistake. That probably would have been the time to have seen it. There's like very much a stigma around that show in the Bay Area, just because a lot of people, well, it's more not a stigma against the show, it's a stigma against like that culture, at least to like locals that aren't part of it, which I'm kind of on the border between them. Like I grew up in quote unquote Silicon Valley. So we see someone in like a Patagonia sweater vest. That is a sign. You haven't watched it in a long time. You're not sure how well it aged. I feel like probably not super well, but you never know. Maybe it has. All right, so I see this line work here. So how am I going to tell it that this is that you actually want this engaged? I think we just look at -1y plus 1x. I think you just say and not. Because it'll happen in this case too, which is wild. Okay, I know what it is. I know how we avoid this. If you want a good tech show, you'd highly recommend Halt and Catch Fire. First off, Lee Pace. Lee Pace is pretty great. What I want to watch is I kind of want to watch Foundation. Lee Pace is in that. I watched, like, I think the first episode, and I was like, this looks fine. I never read the books. And then I just didn't watch it any more of it, and I didn't have a good reason. I just don't watch long, dramatic TV shows very often. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to say if Cutaway has all this junk and not calls try get value I'm going to say key with W equals int tile.layers.bulk y. Is that fine? Yeah. Oh, and oh shoot. Yeah, no, that's right, actually. That's right. You saw most of the first season. You bounced off for some reason also. Yeah, I don't know why I did. Nix, you only realized a few years ago that Silicon Valley is like an actual location. Used to think it was just one of those generalization words to describe the FANG and its subsidiaries, like a digital zone around these companies. No, yeah, it's a real place. It's like a Santa Clara. It's more than it's a somewhat nebulous term, but yeah, it's like part of the South Bay and to an extent the peninsula. It used to be, before the tech age, it was called I think it was called that area was called more like the Garden of like Earthly Delights, because it was like a lot of groves. I think they had a lot of fruit trees. Kind of think that name is better. I don't know what MLP is, Nix. Especially as you're from Europe. Oh, yeah. I don't expect you to know any of that stuff. Let's see if this fixed one side of it and caused no side effects. Side effects. Only the side effects that we want. I don't know how to trigger this. That's my big problem, is I don't know how to actually trigger the cutaway situation here. Maybe I need more room. Oh, I know what it means now. I know what it means now, Nix. I had to think about the acronym. Trolling me endlessly. I can confidently say I've never seen it, but I know what it is. Nix, especially as you're from Europe, it's hard to know things when you're not from the place where it's common knowledge. It's also easy to forget that something for someone is common knowledge. It might not be for someone else. That's a really hard problem for people from California, because our culture is so dominant in the media. mostly because of like LA and like the film scene, and like a lot of film and television is done. And to a lesser extent, it's done like up the Pacific coast, up to like Toronto and Vancouver is like a lot of stuff too. So if like there's a lot of coastal elite BS that people from where I am just take for granted. Okay, I think we fixed it. The outline looks correct now for this case. It's still wrong for this case, but that's the control. So correct, incorrect, correct, incorrect. I've never seen a feed-forward neural network before. I have not. I used to read about neural network stuff, more in the context of how it actually works in like the brain. I thought it was very interesting how our neurons, how our own neural networks. I never really read about it in terms of application and technology. I think it's pretty cool. Obviously we're using it for some questionable stuff, but in principle, it's cool. All right, okay. I'm satisfied that there aren't any weird side effects, so I'm just going to implement this here. This cutaway is getting so complicated. I'm a little nervous about it, but do I know the band Nano War of Steel? No, I haven't heard of that. Technology used for questionable stuff? Never. I know that's part of the definition of technology. The quote-unquote hatchet in the hands of a madman, as Einstein put it. I mean, people say tools are just how they're used. They're good or evil based on what they're used for, not like intrinsically. I don't know if I agree with that. I think some tools are intrinsically better or more harmful than others. I don't buy into the whole like all technology is morally neutral argument. All right, I think we fixed this. Check it. I know we weren't supposed to be working on the auto tiler, but when I spot an auto tiling bug, I think I just need to quash it. I don't want to suffer a bug to live for in this particular system, because the system is basically done. So if I spot one, I want to just keep it around. Okay, cool. Kind of an edge case, but it looks like it's being handled correctly now. All right, what are we gonna work on now? I think we can move copy, cut, and paste tool to the completed side. Get system singleton seems like the stupidest thing to have on here. But whatever. Tile selection overlay. We know this needs work. 90-degree camera rotations. We know this needs work. The tile selection overlay one is kind of tricky because it really needs to just be a variation of our auto tiling, of our other auto tiling system. It's like, it's one of those things where it takes a different route to get to the same result, because it has different information available to it. So that's something I kind of want to generalize, but that's kind of a refactor thing, maybe. So maybe I don't want to do that right now. I don't know about that specifically, Nyx, but all of the AI companion things is like very sad. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that really don't have community and they don't have a support network and they're very alone, but like an AI companion is like the worst thing. Very sad. All right, what of these do we want to do? I kind of want to do the cursor block outline. I kind of want to think about that. Auto tile invalid blocks would also be really good because right now, if you like place a door and the door is not in a valid place, the door will be invisible until it becomes valid because the auto tiler doesn't know what to do with it. So I think we do need like we need a sprite that is like here's what you place when you don't know what else to do. It'd be like the equivalent of like a magenta block or something like that. Like a very obvious, like this is wrong kind of block. Language is weird next. No worries. Is the R... So at first I thought you just misspelled it and you capitalized the R of nanowar by mistake. But these people make music out of Java code. They have a hello world.java song. Okay, that's kind of interesting. No, it's really unhealthy. Like kind of when I saw it and I kind of thought that maybe things were heading in a scary direction with this stuff was when they started talking about how, or when I started to notice that like young people, it's one thing to ask the AI how to do something. It'll be like, oh, AI, how do I organize my tasks better? Or AI, how do I don't know, whatever. How do I do something? Like how? It gets scarier when you start to ask them other questions like what or why. Like when you ask the AI, like, what should I be doing? Like I've seen a lot of people doing this nowadays where they're like, our project manager is the AI. Like we ask it what we should be doing. Like what should we work on next? I'm like, that is unhinged. What's even worse is when you ask it why you should be doing something. That's not healthy. It is not equipped to answer those. So what we really should be working on, honestly, are these things. The block editor history, the save and load block sets, the undo redo block tool. We should be working on these next. I thought about this. I think we could hack it together, but what I really need is I need to figure out how I want to set up the UI for saving and loading block sets. Like we need some kind of window or at least a text prompt or something so that you can specify file names and stuff. I think temporarily what we'll do is there will probably just be one ship file that we'll save to just for testing purposes. But yeah, I need to think about how the UI for that would work. It depends. You could see someone asking why they shouldn't do a program like A, but more like B. Yeah, to me, that's a how question more than a why. Like, I know that's like semantically BS, but like that's like saying, how should I approach this problem? Via solution A or via solution B? When I'm saying like people are asking like what or why they should be working on something, they're asking like fundamental like life direction questions. Like, what should I do? Like, that's scary to me. When you are so untethered and unanchored to reality that you're like investing your intention with an AI, that's scary to me. All right, we could work on raycast cursor input. The tile set atlas builder, this is like an enormous project by itself. We're not going to tackle this. Yeah, I don't kind of like the ambiguity of the size of tasks in my little Kanban board. Like Tileset Atlas Builder is probably like a multi-month project, but Get System Singletons was like 30 minutes of work. So it's like I maybe need to be a little more specific about how I do this stuff. Resizable block buffer. This is technically doable because all buffers are resizable now, but I guess I don't have a metric for actually doing it. Because that has to do with like how you're basing the block buffer. Diginanigans, your workplace uses Motion now, which is an AI auto scheduler of tasks. You don't follow what it tells you to do religiously. It's mostly used as a means of preventing people overbooking people. But you're still not a huge fan of it. Yeah. That's one of those things. It's like, how much AI do you need for a scheduler? People have written incredibly complex schedulers with no input from a large language model. So it's like, is it needed? What about eyedropper block tool? Ooh, eyedropper block tool could be cool. That could be fun. Paint bucket block replacement tool could also be fun. What is the eyedropper block tool? So it would be like, it's like the eyedropper is like when you're picking like a color or something in like a graphic editor. So instead of me going in, instead of me just going in and picking a block from a palette, I could like alt click. I could like alt left click in and it would be like, oh, you want to select this block, and it will just automatically select the correct block for you based on what's already been placed. So you could pick all floors at once. That would maybe be like the bucket replacement part. So the eyedropper would so let's say you eyedropper the floor. Okay, now you have the floor selected. Then the paint bucket tool would be like, replace the floor with something. The thing is, that isn't a super meaningful thing to do right now because there isn't really a lot of variety for replacement. I'm thinking of that more in the future when you're actually swapping textures, like tile textures out. If you want to like recolor something or something like that, but we don't support that at the moment, swapping textures, because it's all flat shaded and we don't even allow color swaps yet. Can you do just colors? Like you can recolor a floor? Would the eyedropper have a function to do that? I think just doing colors would be cool, and I think that would be a layer on top of the texturing, the retexturing, because in Godot you could just say, well, how would I actually want to do this? I don't know if I'm going to do that because we could support that, but there's only a couple ways to do that. One would be to actually send per tile cell color data to the tile map. And I actually don't know if that information is included in the tile map data thing. I don't think it is, because the tile map data is 14 bytes. And it's like, there's like a header, which is 1 byte. Actually, the header might be 2 bytes. There's like a header for 2 bytes. There's like XY positions for 4 bytes. There's Atlas chords for 4 more bytes. And then there's source ID for 2 bytes and alternative tile for 2 bytes. So that's 14 bytes. So actually, per tile color data is not included in the tile map data. It must be something else stored on the node, on the tile map layer node. I actually don't know how that's stored. Because you can go into a tile map and you can specify, because you can specify the modulate of the node overall. So you could recolor the node entirely, or you could say tile cell, tile map layer. I actually don't know how you do this. I've done this before because it's how I was hiding cells. I used to hide cells by changing the modulate of the individual cell. And I don't remember how we did that. So yeah, I'm not sure how we would support color changing via that process. Because yeah, it's not information that's changed in a set cell call. I don't remember how we did this. I definitely did it though. I mean, I could go look at the record, but whatever. Whatever. All right. So yeah, let's pick the next thing because I got a couple more hours. We're doing a full 3 hours today. We're doing good. You understood like 80% of those words? Yeah, sorry. Let me know. I try not to use a lot of jargon, but I do. I don't always use the smallest or best or simplest version of a word. I like a little variety. And my communication abilities. I would say I like to be more descriptive than communicative, which is not always helpful. So yeah, let me know. Let me know if I'm being unclear. No, it's like when you were telling me this Power App stuff. I knew the individual words you were talking about, but I'm like, I don't know what the semantic module view of a report is. Like, I'm like, expand the block palette. Expand the block palette. This is another huge one that we want to do. But I think it's going to be tied into the tileset atlas builder because I want to start adding I think the next huge expansion of this graphically is the addition of these, non-cubic shapes, which I don't think we're really going to get any kind of, we're not going to get any kind of shapeliness, until we can start doing these. And in fact, I actually need to draw some circular versions or some rounded versions that have curves, which I've gotten a lot better about drawing curves in perspective. We also need to do what Nick suggested, which is to make a font, an in perspective version of our font. That's not what Nick suggested, but it would be what we need to do to implement the thing that Nick suggested. Which is, trying to get a good picture, which is to include like a number line sort of deal. Hope you don't feel like I'm about to dox you, Nix, by showing our DMs here, but doing something like when you're making a selection box, having the size of it render. I think this is really good, but we want to do it like in perspective. These are all diagrams Nick's made for us. This is cool, but what that's going to require is to make a version of our font block. Even maybe have these cool little ruler things instead of showing the individual lines. Rhiannon, your communication style is to info dump and over communicate to ensure miscommunication is impossible. It doesn't work. Yeah, that sounds tough. Hey, where am I? What are you working on today? What tool is this? The tool for organizing that you use? Oh, this is just Obsidian. So this isn't like a real Kanban board. This is just, Obsidian's really cool. You can do a lot of these style things. We can even do, where's influences? There it is. We've even done like mood boards and like breakdowns of things. It's really cool. I really like this stuff. How are you doing? Where am I? Nix, would the expanded tile map thing just be creating textures for the individual block shapes? It's more complicated than that because we have to come up with a system for how the tile flood fill system interprets angular blocks. Because like these angular blocks, unlike a cubic block, don't fully seal the tile from every direction. So I need to encode direction information about which directions are sealed by a block. So like some of these blocks, like these ones down here, would only seal, like this one would only seal a corner, like a diagonal corner piece. It wouldn't provide any kind of side-by-side sealing. Whereas this one would seal the back side and the bottom side and nothing else in a diagonal corner. Well, not a well, I don't know how to call it. A diagonal edge. The game jam wasn't a complete waste. You did some curves there. That's where I learned, Rhiannon, Journey. That's where I learned how to make circles in perspective, in the isometric perspective. So yeah, we got one thing out of it. I actually felt pretty good about the art that we were putting together for that jam. It just took so long. Next, another thing you thought about with the ruler, you could add in little nubs where the tile ends another. I was thinking about that, where it's like a ruler line. So instead of having the cross section on the flat part, the selection part, you can have a little rule line on the side. We might do that. That could be fun. Put a bigger one in every 5 or whatever, like an actual, yeah. I think I would just have big ones at the end and the little ones in the side, in between, because I don't think, I'd have to decide if I wanted to, like how many you would do for counting purposes. Obsidian's great. You think it's free and open source? Yeah, it is. Or it's at least free. I think it's open. I don't know if it's open source, but it's free. It is very free. How am I doing? I'm okay. I'm pretty tired. Busy day at work, and we've been talking about it. I have not been sleeping enough because I've been playing too much RimWorld. The new expansion's really fun. We did a Let's Play last Saturday. We'll probably do another one in a week or so. Yeah, so the expansion of the block palette is a major undertaking, and it's really going to be up to how we can figure out how to define these 3-dimensional objects like this block, and these are like the 4 views of this block, and how we can encode that data in a way that we get all the individual tile pieces out of it, such that we can build tile atlases and the auto tiler can understand it, but I don't have to bake the atlases myself. So we're thinking about using like a normal mapping kind of system to explain the side data, to explain like how the sides all match up, so we can feed in these flat images, these 3D, quote-unquote 3D, these pseudo 3D images, and we can figure out where the tile information is. I want to do that, but that's also a pretty major undertaking. So I think the only easy thing that we could work on is the cursor block outline. I think we do need to start working on the undo, redo, and save and load, because that's really the last, I would call them like required features of the editor. All the rest of this stuff is really about like quality of life and like expansibility and stuff like that. But cursor block outline is easy, so maybe we start working on this. I say it's easy. Watch it be not easy. Watch it be very much not be easy. Oh, I thought about something last night that I wanted to do, and I can't remember what it was. Next, we could add in a toggle option into the game menu to disable, enable the skewed number and all that stuff. Oh yeah. Having some options there would be cool. Where am I? For the assets, you could use Blender and render it to the sides you want with different camera perspective easily. I think that is a reasonable approach. The Dead Cells art approach that they took. So you can use a 3D pipeline to make 2D art, you know? These are the most famous people to have done it. So I just credit them with the approach. They're obviously not the first people to come up with this. Like even Fallout had like 3D art that they then baked into like 2D. That might have been some photogrammetry though that they used. But yeah, you make the 3D model, you animate it, and then you break it down into 2D. And then you have your 2D art using a 3D pipeline. It's really good if you have a lot of animations, I think. You can encode normal map information. Super cool approach. Not what we're doing. We're hand drawing everything. Because I don't have a 3D workflow. So we're gonna hand draw it all. Rhiannon Journey, off topic. You've got permission to start a big refactor upgrade of your current main tool code base. You pitched it as taking every Friday to work on it so that other work doesn't stop. I wish I could get approval to do that. We've started discussions of like what it would mean to like move from our vendor to another vendor who's like our main provider for the systems and tools that we use. And I want us to do this. I want us to make this move. But the problem is that the move would take like a year to implement. And they basically frozen development of like all features for all of the tools that I'm working on while they have this conversation. Because they're like, well, we don't want to invest in tools if we're just going to switch systems. And it's like, so you're saying I have to live with my workflow for a year, maybe a year and a half? And then maybe we don't even change systems. Maybe the negotiations break down and we just renew with our current provider. I hate this stuff. I wish I could find the time. I wish I could get the time to work on this stuff. It drives me insane. Diginanigans, yeah, the Dead Cells approach is pretty similar to what you're doing, except you're doing it at runtime. The fact that you're doing it at runtime is really cool. Where am I? And the shapes are easy too? Yeah. The thing is, the shapes are easy now, but I actually agonized over these shapes a lot. Like picking the exact, so this is like 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2. So like picking this exact angle, getting this exact is hard. And I think I would have a hard time getting exactly the angles that I want from a 3D process, just because I would still have to make these choices, I guess is what I'm saying. I'd still have to decide, well, should the pixel be here or should it be here? Because like you'd get a lot of aliasing. So, and then I'd need to draw it again at an even smaller resolution because we have to do 2 resolutions for all of the external art. And by external, I mean exterior. Yeah. So we're doing everything by hand, but because I'm doing this part by hand, what I don't want to do by hand is have to build all the tile atlases. So the tool that I want to develop is more, how do you go from a view? So this is a 3D object being described along 4 perspectives, which is the 4 perspectives we support. Which I wrote as x0 negative z, but I could have just written this as 1 0 negative 1. And in fact, this seems wrong. I probably only need a vector 2 to describe this because it's presumed that you're looking at everything from above. So what I want is a tool that can take these like quote unquote 3D objects and spit out the 2D tile atlases and like pack them all together and like identify Like, how many of these shapes are shared? How many of them are not shared? Like, you see some duplicates here. So that's what the part that I want to automate in procedural is the going from these 3D shapes to the 2D tile atlas, the actual packed atlas that the auto tiler uses, which is why I think we need to do this like normal mapping kind of stuff. Rihanna journey, yeah, within that year so much can change. I know. And my processes suck. I'm always trying to improve them. I can live with most of them, but some of them are like getting really hard to maintain without major improvements, and I'm just like, I'm in purgatory. Diginanigans, you want to have the dynamic camera angles and lighting to affect your characters, so pre-rendering to sprites isn't an option without sacrificing features you want. Right. So you're using like sub viewport containers then, right? So you can still model the lighting. I don't know why I'm bouncing around windows here. Where am I? You can find free low poly assets in the shape of primitive building blocks. Don't overthink the pixel aliasing because only a few would care or be able to feel the difference. I care. No, I like low res pixel art because it's actually really easy to decide. It's really easy to feel out and know whether you put the pixel in the right spot or not. The higher the resolution is, the harder that decision is for me. We'll see what we end up doing with like texturing. When we go to do texturing, I might try to generate some of it, but I probably won't. I like the crispness of pixel art, and I feel like as soon as you start doing conversions down from like 3D or whatever, it's really hard to maintain that crispness and precision. But yeah, obviously it's a choice. And any time I spend on this is time I'm not spending on something else, right? So it's an important thing to think about. It's not something you just like, oh, I'm just going to do it this way because it's what I want to do. I do have to justify it. All right, so let's work on the cursor block outline. Why not? All right, first step of working on the cursor block outline is going to be the tile sets. I actually think I have this file here. Yeah, I do. So we have these select halls. I don't think we really need this. What we kind of need is a dotted line. So we kind of need to do this just as a dotted line variant, which I think we can do by just copying this and then dotting the lines. So I call this select. The other one I'll probably call hover. I don't know. It's like the outline that should show up when you're mousing over something. Nix. In Unity, having a pixelated camera is not that hard to set up. You used to do the following, which is a very crappy solution, but you were still young, dumb, and full of the lack of knowledge on how to code properly. So you used to have a camera looking at your character and save the picture of it into a dynamic image in Unity, and then that got fed into a 2D plane box, down-resed, and then you had the player camera see that. It was dumb, but it worked kind of fine. Next, you could do matrix transformations to calculate out from a normal texture map and like skewed it onto one specific shape you want to texture. Yeah, we could do something. I don't know if it's so low res, the stuff I'm doing, that I don't think there's any real value in doing it, but I'll consider it. Who made the decision to get off their party provider in my project? Was a senior lead, dev, or a PM who isn't a dev? It has the backing of like the like, you know, the technology upper management people, but this is an HRIS, so it actually touches huge swaths of the business, and it's something that we've considered multiple times over many years, but usually at the end of the day we just renew. So they've multiple times promised that like we're gonna change this, and it just ends up not happening. But this time they're like, it's gonna happen for real, and I'm like, it better, because If I have to live with the current state of, if there's going to be a freeze for a year and a half, there better be a payoff. You know what I'm saying? Because we've done this song and dance before and nothing has come from it. And so I'm just skeptical. I'm hopeful, but also skeptical. Oh, Nix. So I wanted to talk to you about what you were saying here about down-resing. This is incredibly easy to do in Godot, and I actually kind of want to show off how easy it is. You think this project was in 4.3? I bet it was. So let me show you my 3D jam game mini delivery. So this was a 72-hour solo game jam I did with this was the solo developer game jam, so Practical NPCs group solo development. So this is like the map and everything. We were allowed to use art assets, so I just pulled a bunch of different low poly art assets. And this is all full HD 3D art assets, but I didn't like this aesthetic. It ended up being like, I just didn't like this aesthetic. It's not what I wanted. So what I ended up doing is we are doing a down-res conversion. We're not doing anything fancy. We literally just have, where's the camera? All we have is a sub viewport container, a sub viewport, and then we put the camera in the sub viewport and we down-res the viewport. So like you can do that whole thing you described with like a couple of nodes, and this is the result. We go from this HD 3D environment to this. He says, confident it's not going to crash. And so this full HD 3D environment is being down-resed into like PlayStation 1 graphics. Oh god. Yeah, I'm very proud of this. Ow. There's 3D in Godot. Yeah. Looks nice and pixelated. Yeah, so we love this. And I like doing this sort of thing because it kind of smoothed over the differences between the different types of art assets we were using. Crash. Was the people who made the decision actually don't code, just manage around? You don't know how hard to make in-house alternative solution? No, you can't do that sort of thing. HRISs are very big, and it's still just like a portion of our technology. That game's available on my itch, if anyone's interested in trying that out. You've never seen the gameplay of that Rhiannon Journey? It's awesome. Let me get the link. It's actually probably still download only. I don't think I ever got a web build of it working. I don't want to accidentally show my dashboard with anything that... It's called Mini Delivery. I actually need to upload a new build. This is the original build, but I made a new build, which runs on my Steam Deck. It was really fun. I took it to an in-person game dev meetup. And I had people playing it on my Steam Deck. It was really fun. You love the car physics, especially the bounciness of it. Yeah, I got a lot for nothing because I just used Vehicle Body 3D, which I hate deeply, but I obviously acknowledge that I couldn't have done it without it. So we're gonna make a new layer. Actually, what I should do, delete. What I should do is copy this layer, duplicate, hover, all. Hide that. We can keep this going. So what I need to do is I need to decide what the outline pattern is going to be. What do we think? For the dotted lines, should it be something like this? What would that look like? Oh no, it can't be. Well, it could be like this sort of thing. So we've got to decide on a dotted line. Oh. That's kind of weird. It's kind of an alternating thing. I don't think I like that. Yeah, I need to put a new build up that has the controller support. Pretty cool demo. Did you take the camera viewport and down-res it? There is an advanced way to do it. Godot PSX shader. Yeah, you don't even need that. The way I did it is just... oh, I closed the project. It's just a viewport container, like a sub-viewport container, locked to like a 180p resolution. So Godot is doing it on its own without a shader. It's just a sub-viewport container. Pretty incredible that you can do that. And Diginanigans is using... I think Diginanigan... Yeah, you said yup at some point. So I think you were agreeing with me. That yeah, you're using that. It's a really good way to easily down-res stuff without having to do any material shaders or anything weird. It's very cool. All right, I think we're gonna do art for a minute as I prepare this file here. I wonder if I should expand this part of it, this transparent part, to like include, what do we think? I'm gonna start without expanding the transparent part. Mainly because it would be more work, and I don't want to do more work. Rhiannon, art stream. It's been a while. You were working mostly on doors when you first started watching. Oh yeah, we have to fix the door. Maybe we'll do that too. Yeah, I'm just really tired. So I think something like this and just chatting is like a nice way to spend some of the stream here, the second half of the stream. Kind of a mixed bag as far as whether it's good for viewership or not. I think I need to show some stuff. Like if I'm only coding, it seems to really hurt viewership. I think variety is the key, maybe. This is maybe overkill. It's gonna be a pain in the butt. How do we want to do the vertical lines? Let me see if we can do it like this to be consistent. Keep the double pixel. I'm worried it's not gonna add up right. Yeah, it doesn't. It's odd. So we could do it, but we would need to do it like this. If we wanted to do the double line. You're gonna go into lurk mode, Nix? No worries. You got a bunch of stuff to work on. Good side, you're almost done with work for tomorrow, so you got a long weekend. Woo! That's nice to hear. That also doesn't match up. How do I want to do that? Get this out of here. Okay, it looks like what I want to do is this. Just a little awkward, but have it just meet in the corner like that, like the little tips. I think that'll look right. Or at least it will look, you know, the same front to back. Yeah, there we go. That's how we have to do it. I can live with that. Do we want to do it even differently than this? I'm terrible at art too. Where am I? I'm not a trained artist. I just kind of mess around. Have I played Signals? I don't think so. Signals. I actually can't find anything about that. Its SEO is not good. Oh, I think Signalis was just getting dropped in there. Signals on Steam. The casual strategy game where you lead the search to repair alien devices and follow mysterious signals to find its source and what lays at the end. Is that what we're talking about? It's on Steam. This game? Looks pretty. Oh, Signalis. Okay. I've heard of Signalis. I haven't played that either. Signalis. Much better rated than Signals. Oh, this is like a cool art style. Is this that down res kind of thing that you're talking about? I mean, the little cutscenes are probably 2D, but oh, this is cool. This is doing like pixelated 3D. So it's like 3D characters that they're like down resing. To bring them into the same resolution as the background, I think, maybe. No, yeah, no worries. This looks sick. This was on Godot? Oh, it says Rose Engine. Is that the studio name? Okay, yeah, that's the developer name. It's got engine in the title, so I'm like, Yeah, that's really cool. It's giving very old school Resident Evil. Does it have fixed cameras? Fixed camera locations? Oh, no, it doesn't. It moves with you. Okay. Super cool. It uses an advanced one, the PSX shader. Godot PSX shader. Is that specifically okay? So that's like a specific. That's like done in such a way as to like very purposefully imitate a PlayStation, like an early 3D PSX style camera shader for Godot 4. Cool. Super cool. Yeah, I'd have to look into why you would want the advanced one versus just a primitive one. All right, I'm trying the inverse of what we just did for the dotted line. I think it might be too little. The other one felt kind of like too much. This is probably fine for now. We can change our mind and do something else later. I actually like that. I think that's good. Let's stick with that, maybe. It's also easy to do. Shenanigans. Hey, you think you remember seeing a bunch of stuff on how they made the look and feel of that game on TikTok? Cool. Make it Morse code and hide messages in the outline. That would be funny. Oops. Yeah, I think this looks okay. We'll have to see how I feel about the transparent interior. We might get rid of it. We might expand it to fill the empty spaces left by the solid outline. Or we might get rid of it altogether. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. But yeah, let's just knock this out here. It's gonna be tedious, but that's okay. I really want... Sometimes, you know, you really want a tedious activity. Just to give your brain some time to decompress. Not everything can be debugging and coding and architecting and designing. Sometimes your brain just really needs some downtime, you know? Some busy work. That's why I don't think you should eliminate all busy work. Where my PS1 had just integral processing, so you'd have pixel jitter, which is nostalgic for a lot of people. Oh, so that's why you would do it that way instead of just using like a Godot sub-viewport container. Is you're almost trying to do like a level of like hardware emulation on top of that. That explains why you would want to use something like that. Because that seems like overkill for just trying to down-res a 3D scene. But no, that makes sense. You're going for like a specific aesthetic. Yeah, that's why, to me, it's crazy, people who program hardware emulators, because they can't just recreate the output independently. They have to like recreate the quirks of the underlying hardware of the thing that they're trying to emulate. That's like so crazy to me. How hard that must be. Especially when you're talking about something like what you're describing, like an integral processor. Something we just don't use nowadays. Have a great stream. Thanks, Pheasant SC2. So what's everyone working on this week here? Some people have already said. We're just chilling now, so I have a lot of bandwidth to just chit-chat. Chit-chat. Or yap, as some people call it nowadays. Down to yap. Because, yeah, I don't think I can. I was looking at, like, our list of available tasks and all the programming ones, and I was like, I don't think I can do that today. That's maybe one of my biggest failings with approaching game dev live on stream like this is I am not, partly it's just a work thing and having time available, but I'm really not doing the prep work that one would need to do for some of these. Like, some of this stuff is like something new that I haven't ever tried before, and like I really need to do some research and some prep and like think through some of the architecture before going live, you know? So it's not just something we can pick up. Whereas a lot of the stuff I'm working on, like if we're bug hunting or if we're doing whatever, doing something I've done before, I can just go live and we can just start chipping away at it, right? So I think I need to identify and make more time for some of those tasks that require more upfront research and planning. And some of that stuff is pretty integral to our progress. And then there's other stuff I can be doing like this, like making dotted lines. And I can just do this mindlessly, just hanging out. Cousin SC2, yeah, you suppose I could also research live. Doesn't sound easy for stream. Yeah, it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough. I appreciate all the suggestions, but I feel like I have to communicate some degree of confidence in the approach I'm taking, or I get the backseat deving can get like kind of hostile sometimes from people if they think that you're taking the wrong path, or it doesn't sound like what you know what you're doing. So, and yeah, the more important issue is it's just boring to research stuff on stream. Where am I? Modern CPUs still have integral processing, but they add FPU and SIMD and MMU. No, yeah, that will make sense. I'm sorry if I implied that we don't have that anymore. It's just like, I think we've come around to the idea that it's the direction we've gone is way more FPU, SIMD stuff. Diginanigans, you're tediously porting a website you've already programmed into a CMS for a client that is a very clunky GUI-based builder. Cool. Where am I? You're working on testing C++ benchmarking and optimizing, which is fun. And not sometimes. This Iliad guy just keeps front-seating my game. I know. Twitch does game dev over here. Nix, you worked on your CRM system. It's coming along very nicely. You implemented a custom lava lamp Esquire background. This is where my understanding starts to fall. You made a new header that works both on PC and mobile. You implemented new tables for the SQL, connecting them into the system through your database CS, and now you can like load in the data properly. Making the header was a pain in the butt. So it's like a free floating notch with the company icon on the left, user icon plus user data, and a drop down on the right and in the middle. Nice for the different dynamic reports and stuff. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. So today was very productive. Keyword was. Yeah, it's over. You don't need to continue being. Custom lava lamp. Yeah, I know. I was like, okay, that sounds cool. That's probably a term. Oh, esque, as in something like that. Okay. Oh, a lava lamp esque. Esque. I understand. Something like a lava lamp. I don't know. People in UI UX will have these terms to describe things that sound so insane when you don't have the context, but they're just like talking about it super normally. It's a background for the page. It looks like a lava lamp. Oh, that sounds awesome. Oh, do these match up? That's neat. They do. That'll make it easier to make them. When I do stuff like this and it's like becomes like hard to tell what I'm doing because I'm like zoomed in and we're working on this weird atlas and stuff, I think about the guy who would make like full paintings in Microsoft Paint, like full like big paintings in Microsoft Paint, and he'd do it 1 pixel at a time. I think it's because he was like going blind or something like that. I just can't imagine the amount of discipline and like vision you have to be able to like paint so granularly. Dude was like the Monet of Microsoft Paint. You had fun with it? You tried adding in bubbles? Looked like you were in the bottom of the ocean with like bright blue blurred things moving around in the dark. It's like a horror movie. That's fun. You removed them. It's more abstract. No, that's cool. That sounds pretty cool. I think it's important to find the fun in that stuff. Or in many ways, you make the fun. Yeah, I just try to be comfortable with the fact that, like, I can't be entertaining all the time. And what I'm working on is not always going to be interesting or entertaining. And, like, some of that stuff I will genuinely save to work on offline. Like, some of the more tedious, like, refactoring I've needed to do. But I just try to be comfortable with it and know that people are coming to this place as, like, a shared space to, like, hang out and co-work. Like, it's about the vibes and everything. And just be okay with the fact that we're not always working on some exciting feature that's like really flashy or cool. And I also have to be okay with the fact that people are going to deeply criticize my workflows. This should probably be like this, huh? Oh, this is going to be hard to do. Actually, we'll leave it. He reminds you of a striped candy cane? Yeah, it's kind of like that, huh? It's blue instead of red. That's the other thing. I really don't know how devs do this. How they stay live for like 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day, sometimes longer. After about 2 hours, I start to feel some serious fatigue. I mean, I can usually go for 3, maybe 4 at max. But like, yeah, I need to alternate the like intensity of the work that I'm doing in these cases. I really don't know how the full-time devs pull it off. It's incredible to me. I mean, I can do it in one-offs. Like, we all know that my, like, game jam streams are usually, like, 12 hours. They're usually, like, 10 to 12 hours for, like, a couple of days in a row. But, like, it takes a lot out of you. And this is the middle of my 3 work blocks. So, you know, I work 3 to 4 hours at my day job. Then I come do this for a few hours. And then I go back to my day job for another 3 or 4 hours. Usually closer to 4. So that usually means that I'm working from about 6 in the morning until about 6 in the evening on a typical weekday. You're also learning, so maybe it's more mentally taxing. That's probably not insignificant. That's true, because what we're working on really changes how I feel about the stream. And also, it's kind of like correlated to like the kind of progress we're making. If we're making really good progress, that can be very energizing and motivating and very focusing. But if I start hitting walls, like if I've been debugging for the last couple of days, that can also do it. So yeah, the nature of the work definitely has an impact too. And then just the part I've been struggling with and not doing a good job is just coming to the streams with the right, with you know, being well rested and stuff, right? I have not been doing that. We've been blaming RimWorld. But work has also been, you know, challenging. But people don't seem to mind. I think people want a chill co-working environment like this. I know I do. I would love it if my radio station would stop playing music with vocal samples and treating them as instrumental music. But whatever. I'm just tired of the singer who's always singing about future pants. Pheasant, are you still drinking a lot of coffee, or did you stop once you got a desk job? I've gone back and forth. I started drinking decaf a lot, but I've gone back to a half calf in the morning. So I usually have a big half calf. And then I usually switch to tea after that. So yeah, that's probably causing some of my flagging energy in the afternoon. Is probably I am drinking more caffeine than maybe I used to or had been. But yeah, it's crazy how out of shape I am after a few years with a desk job. I get tired carrying my laundry a couple blocks down the street, you know? I get winded going up the stairs. It's like, it's not good. I'm trying to clear a bunch of space to get my bike out so I can start biking more again. The yearly thing is that I end up storing a bunch of stuff with my bike and I can't get to it until I clear it all away again. So yeah. There's probably a health element. My fatigue for sure. I appreciate when people remind me to drink water. I try to do it anyway, but you know, it's hard. This is water, by the way. I have a coffee, but I think it's room temperature now. But right after this ends, I'm gonna go around the corner to the laundromat, and there's a little coffee shop there. I'm gonna get a big cup of tea. Switch over to tea for my while I get the laundry going, and then go back to work. I've been really enjoying our Let's Play streams. Viewership is not good for them. But that's because I'm not typically a Let's Play streamer, and I don't think the algorithm knows what to do with me when I'm doing that. But I've been enjoying those a lot. Those have been a nice break so that I can keep up with my, my 5 days a week streaming. And, we don't necessarily have to work on Saturday. We can do a Let's Play. I've been really enjoying that. I'm getting to hear a lot about and we've been bringing in new people, which is cool. I'm always thinking about how to bring in new people. I think changing the streaming time would work, but I don't want to do that. Or like having a more flexible streaming time, which I'm glad I don't have to do that. I think if I had a less flexible, I think if my work wasn't as cool, my work is very cool with me and they're okay with me like dipping out for like 4 hours a day to do this, which is very cool. I think if I was in a more traditional work situation, I would just have to take time where I could. Like I'd be getting constantly interrupted by meetings and stuff like that. And I'm very blessed to not have that problem. But I actually can find these contiguous chunks of hours in the day to work. I think my work likes it because it means I'm available at 6 a.m. and I'm available at 6 p.m. So everyone there that works like these crazy hours, they can pretty much always get in touch with me. It might take me a while to get back to them, but they know I'll get back to them like same day. I don't love the underlying transparency layer or semi-transparency mask thing that we're doing here. But I don't want to change it until we've tried it. All right, we're like a third of the way through this. Let's do it. But I'm enjoying this. This is a nice way to just chill, hang with everyone. Nix, that's funny. You just started to exercise more in general, aside from walking home to the train station. You're getting a bit too fat for your liking. Yeah, I like to eat. I like to make my trips to, my local little diner, my little like hole in the wall mom and pop shop. A couple times a week. I like to eat well. And by well, I mean poorly. I'm like a very indulgent eater. And it means if I'm going to do that, I do need to make up for it with like exercise and stuff. I need to be better about that. And I have been in good shape in the past. And I do remember how much it impacts your energy levels, like the amount of energy you have available. And I know that if I got better at that, I would not, even if I, am working hard and not sleeping so well, I know I would have more energy. That's definitely a priority for me, is to just take a bit better care of myself. But, if I was just working the day job, I'd definitely have time for that, because I'd just clock out of my day job and I could go to the gym, or I'm not a gym person, so I probably wouldn't go to the gym, but, I could just hop on my bike and bike around until the sun sets or something, or even bike around before I start work. I am very lucky. I live in a part of the city where I'm surrounded on 3 sides by parks, big parks, like really big parks. And I don't take as much advantage of it as I should. We're talking big parks, like almost like Central Park sized parks. Maybe a little smaller than that. I actually don't know. I don't know how Golden Gate Park stacks up against Central Park. Be an interesting question. Pheasant, it's different with the job I have now too. Your past jobs were really active. It's crazy the difference that makes. Yeah. Because my previous jobs were all on my feet. I was on my feet 8 hours a day. And not only was I on my feet 8 hours a day, but I biked to work and I biked home. And like that was hugely different. And I definitely took that for granted. Pheasant, you don't know if I noticed, but you lost like 20 pounds just working again and eating normal. Oh, and still eating normal? Nice, nice. Yeah, because you're working on your feet too. No, I totally noticed that hearing your voice. I could definitely hear the 20 pounds you lost talking to you on Discord. No, that's really good. It's kind of incredible. My partner has very active jobs because she teaches and she works in like a bookshop and everything. So she's on her feet all day at work, and she weighs about half as much as I do. But she eats the same amount as me. Like when we're eating, she eats as much as I do, and that kind of goes to show you how different your metabolism is when you're active versus when you're sedentary. Because I'm twice her size, but we eat almost the same amount. And the difference is I'm sitting, or right now I'm standing, but I'm sedentary. Standing is standing while working is not non-sedentary. I don't know if I could do what the Stardiest dev does, or like Primogen or whatever. I don't know if I could get like a I don't know if I want to get like a desk, what do you call it, treadmill. I know some people will do that. They'll get like a desk treadmill so they can walk while they're working. That's kind of wild to me. Dev spy us, the Stardiest dev. They have that. They have like a treadmill. I can see them walking while they're coding. It's kind of cool. You want to see one person try that? Yeah. As long as it's not me. You're curious how well it works? Yeah, I don't know. It must be good. I just don't know how you do that with your setup. Like, where does the... Do you have to, like, get... Like, where does it go when you're not using it? Like, where does the treadmill go? Is it, like, part of the desk? Like, I don't know. I'm curious, too. The best I do is I stand during my game dev streams, and then I because I'm sitting the rest of my workday because I just can't be bothered to stand for like 10 hours a day. Because standing, people say it helps like with circulation and stuff, but if you're not moving, I think just the fact that you're standing is not much better. Nix, what if you have a timer that goes off every hour and you just take a few push-ups then? I could be that streamer. I could be the push-up streamer. Like Practical NPC. Or like Dev Ezra, who does like squats. Or who else does squats? Symbol. Symbol does squats. Where like viewers can like redeem points towards squats and push-ups and stuff. We could do something like that. Could be fun. I mean, I could also do it on my own. I don't have to gamify it, but I'm thinking of the engagement. I'm thinking of viewer engagement. You always gotta be thinking of viewer engagement. Nix, at your work, you just take off a couple hours a week to go for a run? You mean your coworkers too? You personally don't? You just program like a gremlin, afraid of the light hissing at fresh air? Yeah, that's more of my life. I am missing the opportunity to go out and exercise, because like this time of year is the time of year where the sun is up when I wake up and the sun is up when I'm done working. Like, it's very unusual for the sun to be up both when I start work and when I end work. I mean, for a huge part of the year, the sun is down when I start work and the sun is down when I end work. And like, so this is peak get out and do stuff time, and I'm not doing it, and that's a problem. That's a problem I got to work on. Sorry for just yapping about nothing, but I'm trying to be as sonorous about it as possible. Nix, be careful, Dave. You got 20,000 channel points. So after the first couple stream, I'll be fit in no time. That's a good point. That's a good point. I should be careful about how I set that up. Peasant, if it helps. It really helps if you have a friend or something. Oh, yeah. I see people in my neighborhood, because I live off a so-called, not to dox myself, but I live near some slow streets, quote unquote, where they're like closed to through traffic or cars. People just run up and down them all the time. It's like really cool. And I see groups biking, groups walking. I don't know how you are able to coordinate that sort of thing in real life, but yeah, it's tough. It's tough in this digital age. All right. We're getting there. We're over halfway done with this little modification I'm doing here. You're sure everyone else got a bunch of them too? Yeah, I don't know what to do with all my channel points. And I don't mean my channel points. I obviously mean like your channel points. I'm trying to think of some stuff because obviously I have like our fun little like vocal call outs. Oh shoot. This floor tile piece. This doesn't tessellate the same way. Nuts. How are we gonna do that? Is it gonna have to be like this? Is that gonna work? I don't know if that's gonna work. I guess we don't have a choice but to try it. Yeah, I gotta think of stuff we can do for like big channel point syncs, like high value stuff. Pheasant, he's thinking about AI text to speech. I am super careful about AI text to speech. Right now, there is only one way to get AI text to speech on this channel, and it's been in place ever since I started streaming, and literally no one has ever used it. So I think it's a very well-kept secret about how to do AI text to speech. But yeah, I'm hesitant to get that on stream because this is live streamed to YouTube, and YouTube is just the permanent archive of the stream. So I'm very hesitant to allow people to just broadcast stuff on the stream. I mean, I know I could have like a queue and things could enter into the queue, and like I should like police the queue and like, you know, screen messages before they get read out. But yeah, I don't know. If anyone has ideas, we have a suggestion box channel in the Discord, or just tell them to me. If anyone has ideas for like big money syncs that we could do, channel point syncs, like things that could be worth like 5,000 points or 10,000 points or more. I'm curious. This isn't gonna look right, this floor piece that I'm doing here. It's not gonna look right. Maybe it needs to be like this. I need to double check how this is gonna work. Let's go to this. Because this is not working correctly. Or this is different than I thought it would be. So I just want to make sure we're doing this right. Nix, I could do a bunch of ways. Like, for example, a Python code that reads out the message. Oh, we can read out messages. We could just tie SpeakerBot into StreamerBot. Like, I would just do a message queue in StreamerBot. If I'd want to, I could like press a button to read in the next message. Yeah, that's like a lot like the system that Pirate Software has. I just don't know if that's the method I want to. That's the thing that I want to make the like sync. All right, so I'm painting over where the dotted outlines will be. And I'm just doing this to just make sure that we are being consistent here. So it'd be like this. Next, the one Twitch streamer you watch, who's also called RJ, has a channel point for removing their glasses for the next 10 minutes. Might not work for me because I'm not doing games, but actual programming. I am like legally blind without my glasses. So yeah, I could do this maybe. I'd actually even have a hard time doing this. I could do it, but I think I would get a headache. Yeah, that's funny. That's a funny one. Twitch avatars is not a bad idea. I've thought about doing a Twitch avatar sort of deal. Oh man, this does not tessellate the way that I thought it did. Okay. Wish I had tested this before. Wish I had tested this before I committed to what we were doing. So I could do this. I don't know if I love this though. That would work. That'd be okay. That's off by 1 from what we were doing though, which is unfortunate. It doesn't as in the top you doubled up. No, I mean this works in that it starts and ends the same way, but it goes from the top back line to the to the bottom line. It's just not what I set up. I set up this because I was looking at it per face. I wasn't looking at it with all the faces together. You invert the black and white is not a terrible idea, but I don't think I like that. I think I like having this kind of dotted line, this double thick line, as opposed to the inversion you're suggesting, which is like this. I don't think I love this pattern as much. The like 1 dot, because it has this, I think it's just 2, the line is not, I can't articulate it. The line isn't straight when you do it that way. It's like jagged. It's like a little too, it changes its direction. So, unfortunately, actually, this isn't going to be that hard to fix. I can just grab this whole thing and I move it up. Then I add one here. It's not that bad. This is relatively easy to fix. You get what I mean? All right, thank you. Did I accidentally move something? No. Actually, Yeah, it's not that bad. I think it's okay. I think I can accept this. I really need to change my hotkeys for A-Sprite. Most of the hotkeys are on for my right hand, which seems like, why would you implement it that way? I can't reach most of my A-Sprite hotkeys with my left hand, which is maybe it's partly the fault of my keyboard. But it's also just down to me that I'm been too lazy to fix it. Lack of planning. Punishing me right now. At least the change isn't that bad. Should it be like this? Should I go over like this? No, that's outside of the sprite. Did I not finish this one? I guess not.
And I don't want to hear another word about our personal problems until I get this down.
Oh wait, what layer is this on? Oh. No, it's on this layer. Why can't I move it? Why doesn't that move? Okay. Okay. There we go. I guess if you just touch the edge of the box correctly, it will only move the box. Which is interesting. This is what a lack of planning will do. Redo some of this. All right, I think I'm almost... Okay, so yeah, so... Oh, it changes. So when it's like this, when it's the arrows, I'm moving the thing. When it's this, I'm moving the box. I see. Cool. Good to know. Almost done. By almost done, I mean almost done fixing the errors. Yeah, so after this, after we've got our sprite sheet set up, what we're going to do is we're going to set this up to... It's actually going to be kind of interesting to see how we want to do this in terms of how we want this to the hover outline to draw when we're like not selecting anything. I guess it'll just imitate whatever the active block tool is, but if there's no active block tool, then what do we do? I don't know. This will be interesting to figure out. Yeah, I think it will be useful to have this kind of in between, because the solid outline represents a selection, like you've actually selected something. And then this is like a hover, which is like a potential. It's like you might select something. Right now you're just mousing over stuff, essentially. So I call it a hover. It's like, it's for when your cursor is like hovering over something. And we're gonna do this to make it a little more clear where your cursor is. So right now it's a little hard to tell because of our kind of pseudo 3D space that everything is in. Oh, I forgot this one. Forgot the outside ones. Embarrassing. That one I remember. Do I like durian the fruit? Is that the one with a very unique smell? I don't know if I've had it. I mean, I think I would know if I had it, so I don't think I've had it. I don't know where you get that sort of thing. Like where it grows. Is it more tropical? You personally can't get enough of it. Fascinating. You get it from a Japanese ramen shop? Oh, okay. I mean, I guess somebody likes it. Sorry, I've like I might have slightly run out of talking points. All right, so now what we do is we do this. Okay. So we're gonna do it like this. You've had them in cookies and ice cream with or without trunks, and now in freeze-dried form. They taste kind of ammonia-like, but you think it's really lovely. Well, that's fascinating. How do you know what ammonia tastes like? I feel like that's something we shouldn't be eating. I'm not sure what that says about you. Yeah, I don't either. You're alive to tell the tale, though, so can't be that bad. Oh, it tastes how ammonia smells like. Yeah, that sounds unappealing to me. But you know, I'm not trying to yuck anyone else's yum, you know what I'm saying? There are definitely snacks where like my initial reaction to it is like disgust, but then it like kind of grows on you. There's definitely some snacks I get where I'm like, I used to hate this and now I like can't get enough of it. It's kind of funny when that happens. Is this right? This doesn't seem right. Is that right? That seems right. No, I believe you. I believe you, Nix. I believe you. That's a good snack. Music's pretty good. All right, home stretch, home stretch. Last section. And then we're done. And then we're done with our little dotted outline thing. Speaking of snacks, you got 5 kilograms of black soybeans as a snack. You underestimated how much you can eat in a day. Yeah, wow. Overestimated? One of them. Is the bag gone? Is that what you're telling me here? All right, so this should be like this. Be consistent. I think. Yeah. Okay. Got a bunch more. It's great. You feel like a baby animal eating off someone's hands, but the hands are yours. No, yeah. There's sometimes if you have like raw snacks like that, it feels a little silly. And then you realize that that's the stuff that's good for you. The unprocessed, like, raw food. Does this work? Like this? You're hesitant to eat too much, otherwise you'll turn into a beast. A soy beast. Yeah, I can get like that with like almonds. I'll just eat like a whole bag of almonds. Which seems fine until you realize like how dense they are. You're making me hungry. I should go get a real lunch, but I'm probably just going to get like a tea and a snack. But I should probably get like a sandwich or something. The amount of fiber in them. Fiber's good. Fiber's good. I feel like the likelihood that you're eating too much fiber is very low. And with like most diets, at least. If only we had like one of those stomachs that can process like fiber and like plant matter, like cellulose or whatever. Like a cow. All right, it looks like we might have a time to like try to implement some of this. I wasn't sure how long this was going to take, but it's pretty much almost done, and we still got a bit of time left in the stream. Let's see what we can get in here. Yeah, like a cow's. Nicks having multiple stomachs, fun fact. They can barely digest it as well. They have to bring it back up. Oh yeah, that's like yeah, they have to send it back to another stomach for finally the digestion process. It's incredible because that's all like autonomic functions too, right? Like they're not like purposely directing food through their stomach, but yeah, they're always chewing their cud or whatever, right? Yeah, that does, to be fair, that kind of matter seems really hard to process into a usable stuff. Like there's a reason why we didn't evolve to consume that. I don't know if there's any way to get enough calories that way, right? Unlikely. Flesh programming is crazy. It really is. It really is. Most of our best ideas for like how to program systems and stuff, and like we've gotten so many ideas from nature, but it's always a few steps ahead of us in terms of the elegance. I guess there's something about programming a thing over like millions of years. You achieve a certain elegance of design, you know, over millions of years that you don't get, you know, in a sprint. I think bio-based design is pretty cool. Probably not, yeah. All right, we're so close. We're so close to being done with this. I say so close. We have 3 more rows, but the rows get easier because we start removing things. So yeah, I've got my in-person Godot meetup on Saturday, which is fun. We meet once a month in the city here. I'm always excited to hear what everyone's working on. And it's a nice day to just sit in this hacker space that we meet in and just really dive into something. I mean, I usually don't get that much done because I'm usually talking. But, you know, that's not very much different than one of my streams, right? So we'll see. Maybe I'll do what I said I should do, and maybe I'll research and plan out some stuff so that we can dig into some meatier stuff on stream next week, like save load, undo redo, stuff that I've done before, but we need to do take a very different approach with our current architecture. Take a very different approach to what I've done in the past. So that'll be fun. Hmm. Oh yeah, this is a wall. Right. So Nix, you're gonna take a little small break. It's already 10 p.m. You've been working since 6. Oof. Yeah, take a break. Yeah, I don't know why you're having such issues with the Twitch app on iPhone, I think you said. Well, enjoy your break. Android? Oh, it's on Android. Well, that makes more sense. I understand the Twitch app being busted on Android. I'd be surprised if it was busted on iPhone, you know? You would never. Yeah, I haven't had an iPhone in a long time, and I really don't have any reason to go back. Which kind of ostracizes me from my family. They all have Macs and iPhones and stuff, and I'm over here with my Windows and my Android. But, you know, it could be worse. I could be on Linux. And then everyone would think I was crazy. Nix. With your, yeah. I don't know why you're not on Nix OS, huh? It seems like it was tailor-made for you. Right? You know, when I'm just cruising like this and kind of just working on stuff, it's almost like I could forget that I'm streaming if it wasn't for these big bright lights. These blinding bright lights that I have set up. All right, I realize we'll still need to program in the tile set layer stuff. So that might be what we do after this. And then tomorrow we like set up the auto tiling behavior. Well, we don't really need to set up the behavior because the whole point is that we set this up to be exactly like the selection outline. So we just need to change when or why you might. I actually think I want this to also draw onto the same tile map layer as the selection, because it's like either or. You're either going to be selecting something or hovering over something. You're never going to do both simultaneously. So I think we don't need an extra tile map layer for this. We just need rules. Well, not rules. We don't need rules for the auto tiling. We just need to set up when you would use this versus that. It'll just be simple. It could actually be deadly simple, like, or not deadly. It could be incredibly simple if it's literally just where the mouse cursor is. The only complexity is you actually have to look at what blocks are there. We could do it not that. We could just have it render a full block every time. Like a full outline block every single time. But I kind of like if it changes shape based on what kind of blocks are underneath it. Oh, the fatigue. The fatigue is real. I really need that tea. I feel like it needs to be Friday. I need today to be Friday. But it's not. But tomorrow we'll be thanking Godot it's Friday, so it's all good. It's all good. Kind of crazy how fast the week loops around on you. I guess the thing they say about getting older is true. It just keeps speeding up. Because each day and each week and each month and each year becomes progressively a smaller proportion of your life. And so your sense of it kind of just goes by faster and faster every time because it's just proportionally less of it. I think that's interesting. I definitely noticed something like that. All right, time to try to export this. So we're going to call this all default. We'll call it hover. 100%. All right, that's it for that. So let's go into Godot here. And I think right now they're on separate tile sets. I think eventually we want them to be the same tile set, but right now the grid is a separate tile set. Yeah, here we go. So we've got grid. Okay, so right now we just call them grid, deck, XY, grid. I think I need to call them like select versus hover. In fact, hover should probably come before select, but I want to rename these. Doesn't really matter right now what we name them. Oh, we need to do the doors too, huh? I forgot about the doors. That might be what we do last here. Set up the door sprites. All right, let's go find those. Let's go find those files. Door single proxy, door triple proxy. Let's say door single combo. All right, it's not there. So where is it? Is it this? Is it the door single proxy? That makes sense. That makes sense. Why are there two of these though? Oh, this is the ace file. Okay, so this is single select. Why is this set up like this? Oh, so we have inner door, outer door. Then we have select. Even though we don't need it doubled up like this, but we've got it like that. I'm gonna add a background just so I can see what I'm doing. New layer. I don't think I need to name it background. I think it would have gotten renamed automatically. But the background, I want to make That's a little deep. I want this color. I like this color. That's the desaturated blue. There we go. All right, so we'll duplicate this. Hide this. Call this single hover door. And then, so we just need to decide how we're going to divvy this. I guess there is no decision to make. We use the same pattern we're using everywhere else. I guess what I do is I delete half of it, right? I delete this half. I know we don't need both halves. Hey, Fusionist. How's it going? You are joining near the end. We started on time today. I would like to stream from like 10:30 to 1:30 my time. It's about 1:20 now, so... Oh, oops. How am I going to do this? Oh, I can just do that. That's not how that would work, is it? If I turn this off, yeah, that's not gonna work. Yeah, so I have to erase and then paint, erase and then paint. We're working on a hover outline. So we're working on a dotted outline for things for when you mouse over it, not for selections. We finished all the copy and paste issues we were dealing with earlier this week. We'll wrap that up today. You're going well here. You did a big quick run of coding. Was efficient, so you're happy. It's nice. It's nice when you knock stuff out quickly like that. That's great. So yeah, so we're gonna add a little dotted outline around the cursor. You reinstalled the app, no luck. Oof. Sorry about that. But yeah, deciding how to do the outline here. This can't really be automated. I just have to figure it out, right? Okay, I can't have the background up. This. Okay, good. So I'll do the outer part first. Oops. We'll figure out how we want to do the rest of it. Oh, wait. I said I wasn't going to do that. We are going to have to... I'm going to do this now. We're going to have to change the semi-transparency stuff. We're probably going to have to fill in around the edges here for this to look correct. But I want it to look... I want to keep it looking like this for now, which doesn't have that. Because we just got rid of the solid outlines, but we didn't fill in anything underneath it. If I decide I want to add that back, I'll just do that in my own time. I'm not going to waste the stream doing it. We do need to fix one of the other doors, which we might do while we're doing art time. Yeah, I've been a little unfocused this week, Fusionist, so we're just trying to do something simple and easy, you know? How did I say this was gonna work? It's supposed to be like this, right? Yeah. But yeah, we had a good, productive first hour and a half in terms of like, we figured out the bug that we were experiencing. We did all that. Solved a little other auto tiling bug. And then yeah, we've just been doing a little art stream today. Just the kind that you can kind of just zone out to. We were talking about a lot about trying to make sure you exercise and how to have energy with this very sedentary life that one often leads when one is a programmer. on a second. How does this look? Oh, that looks like that, huh? I guess this should too then, huh? Yeah, that's not gonna cut it. That looks super weird. I don't know, maybe it's okay. This looks a little awkward. But it's fine, because this is going to show over an actual door. So it'd show over this, and I think that'll look okay. Oh, that definitely reinforces that I need to fill this in like this. This needs to be solid. The little transparent mask thing needs to cover the whole thing, or it's going to look super weird. So we need to expand all of this. So I'm probably going to need to go back in and expand that in the rest of it to keep it consistent, but that's fine. Maybe that'll be one of the things I do at my Godot meetup while I'm talking with everyone there. I try to pick a task like that. Something that lets me focus. Something not too meaty when I'm at an in-person meetup. It's hard to be productive. I don't know why people are like, oh man, I miss the days of working in person. I was so productive. Like now, if I try to do work and there are people around me, I mean, like obviously I have the stream, but I acknowledge the fact that like I would probably get more done if I wasn't streaming the development. There's like a different reason why I'm doing the development stream, but like, yeah, I don't know why people so long for the doing all the work in person thing. I get so easily distracted. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So it would be like you hover over it, and then if you select it, it'd switch to a solid outline. It looks like it's getting even brighter, but that's just because of the transparency mask. Yeah, I'm okay with that. It makes me wonder about the dots for the door here. For this line. Are we even going to do dots for the line? I don't know. For this line here. If I lock it, I did. So the social aspect works for some people, you think? Yeah, I'm not an extrovert. Might be surprising to some of you to hear this. To me, it consumes energy for me to be around people, right? That's like the loosest definition of extrovert versus introvert, right? Is that like extroverts like get energy from being around other people, whereas introverts lose energy from being around other people. So I'm very much in the I lose energy when I'm around other people. Like it costs me something to be around other people socially. I'm definitely in that camp. Nix, you actually work better in the office versus your home office. At your home, you can goof off too much. That's true. That's true. You have to. There is discipline involved in working at home. That's for sure. Not sure how to handle this. Maybe like this. And then maybe it's like every other one of these we do. That doesn't work either. I don't know how to I don't know how to dotted line this diagonal thing here. Maybe like this. That's not gonna work, is it? Oh, no, that did work. The only question is, do I want it to go the other way? I think I want it to go like this way. I might even want it to do like this. Maybe even like this. Maybe not like that. Fusionist, be it pressure or feeling like your contributions are worth more when your coworkers aren't living in your screen. You're personally very glad that there was that shift to working at home. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm definitely glad. As someone who worked like retail through like the pandemic and then got their home office job after it, I don't have a lot to compare to in terms of the office dynamic, but I definitely don't miss like being around the working public. Okay, I think that's reasonable, just having the single dotted line for just that part. I think that looks... oh dang it. A-Sprite treats sampling. So you sample the whole layer, not just the layer you're on when you do the eyedropper tool. So because like this background was up, when I eyedropper tooled this little semi-transparent mask, it picked up the background layer as well, which is a little weird to me, but it makes sense that that's how that works. But yeah, it leads to mistakes a lot for me. Okay, how does that look actually in place? Yeah, that looks great. The thing that I'm not going to look forward to is I eventually will need... I'll actually need to have this outline set up for the entire animation. God. Why did I decide to do it this way? For the solid outline, I was just gonna use a shader for this. I was just gonna have a shader that said like turn the black outline white. But it would be more involved to say turn the black outline white, and then, you know, dot it up. That might need to just be drawn. That's not happy. It's not a happy feeling for me that I might have to do that. But that's a problem for future Dave with his future pants. I actually, no, we can get around this. I've realized how we can get around this problem. Because if the door is animating, we are going to be in play mode. And if we're in play mode, we can just use the solid outline as the hover outline. Because when you click something, the selection thing doesn't stick around. You can only select something that's actually there, right? So, yeah, whatever. I think that'd be okay. I think that'll be okay. I think the dotted... that makes me think about whether I even want the dotted thing. No, yeah, I do. I do in edit mode, I think. I think I do in edit mode. Shenanigans, you're good at working at the office or at home, but you're glad to not have to pay daycare for your 3 kids anymore, or an hour of commuting there and back. Yeah, the commute's crazy, and it's wild how much money people spend on childcare. I know people who spend like way more money on childcare than they do like their rent or their mortgage or whatever. So yeah, that's probably huge. Nix, if I don't mind answering a few questions, how long have I been working in IT? And how much is my average salary? You're wondering how much more you should be paid. Well, you're in Europe, so I don't think your salary stuff has any. It would. I don't think me telling you how much I get paid would have any bearing, like how much someone gets paid in San Francisco versus, Europe. But technically, I'm not in IT. Technically, I'm in HR, but I'm like an HR backend kind of person. So I do technology stuff, but I'm not. And I honestly feel like an IT person a lot of the time, the way people reach out to me about stuff. But technically, I'm like not an IT person. Like, I actually got kind of a non-IT job, but because of my skills and propensities over the years, I've kind of turned this into an IT job because I've been very forward about, like, I think we need to solve these problems with technology and with automation and all that stuff like that, which was, like, not, I think, an original requirement of my original position that I got with this company. So very much unusual what my approach has been. So sorry if that's not helpful at all. All right, I gotta wrap this up in a few minutes. Yeah, that's why I appreciate everyone talking about all their web dev stuff, but like I have no idea about anything anyone's talking about around all the work y'all are doing with web dev. I really don't do that same kind of stuff. I do a very different. That's why when I mostly complain about like HRIS stuff. So this should maybe be a dotted line. Maybe this as well. Maybe this. Maybe this. No. Okay. Let me fill these little spots in here, and then I think we are golden. Just gotta cover up these little black spots. You were expecting me to not say anything? Okay. No, I'm generally okay to talk about generally what I do. I will avoid talking specifically about, the company or the industry that I work in. In America, to your knowledge, talking about salary is like a hot topic. Yeah, it is. It can be. There are legal protections that allow you to do so generally, but that still doesn't stop people from, like, being touchy about it. Okay, so we'll need to export this to something. Door single hover proxy. Yeah, I'm going to need to think about what the difference is with the selection overlays between edit mode and play mode, because I'm realizing those are very different, and I'm also realizing my idea to do some of this stuff programmatically, it also depends on it being a solid outline. So I need to think about that. But Rhiannon Journey, it's frowned upon, but it shouldn't be. It only protects the company owners. Exactly. I don't know why it's frowned upon. I mean, it can obviously introduce like interpersonal conflict. If, like, you're on the same level as someone else, and maybe you're even more senior than they are, but they're being paid more than you because they got hired after you. So wage compression is like a really big problem for people that stay at the same companies for a long time. There's a lot of reasons why it like could be awkward, but yeah, I feel like transparency around that is only good. Yeah. But all that said, we got to kind of wrap it up for today. Rhiannon Journey, transparent salaries also help protect minorities from being taken advantage of. Yeah, I think as long as your coworkers are comfortable with it, I think you should always share that information between each other. Like I think there was what was one of the Blizzard like scandals where someone like put together a spreadsheet, a self-reported spreadsheet of like all the salaries of all the people that like work at Blizzard. And it uncovered all sorts of crazy stuff that was part of, you know, the huge cluster of problems that Blizzard was experiencing. And I know there was especially a problem around like QA and some of like the considered like lower positions. Fusionist, it's frowned upon because company owners will make you sign so you won't talk about it. And workers deformed it into being a bad thing. Yeah, obviously you might be under some kind of NDA, but I don't know if you can even do that in it might be a state by state thing. But at least in my jurisdiction, it's like illegal to prevent employees from talking about wages. So yeah, I think more transparency can only help in that situation. But yeah, obviously like protect yourself depending on what jurisdiction you're in and depending on what you've signed. Oh, I would be very surprised if it's legal in Europe, Nix. Europe is usually pretty good about labor laws. All right. I do have to go now. This has been really great. I thought this was going to be really boring and no one was going to show up because we were just kind of chilling and I've been very low energy this week, but everyone's been very nice. I think we still had a pretty good time. We'll be back tomorrow for another hopefully full stream, hopefully another full 3-hour stream. There will be no stream Saturday because I have my monthly in-game Godot meetup I'll be going, but I'll be back tomorrow. Hey, nerds! We got the 2 nerdy nerds here. Quick shout out to 2 nerdy nerds. What's up, nerds? Thanks for lurking. I'm gonna wrap things up because I'm almost out of snoozes and the pre-rolls are done. So yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.